Welcome along to the deep dive.
Good to be here.
So today we're digging into Brentford's latest Premier League outing, the one against Ipswich Town. We've got the match report here.
Yep, a 1-0 win for Brentford. Seems simple on the surface.
Exactly. But we want to go a bit deeper than just the scoreline. Our plan is to kind of explore the different angles, look at the Toonfet, the actual story of how the game unfolded.
Alongside the hard facts, the report itself.
Right. And then there's the none-done, the sort of analysis, what people made of it.
And maybe pick up on those little bits of Goknin Kahan, the sort of personal takes or subtle hints you get in the writing.
Yeah, see what it tells us about where both Brentford and Ipswich are right now, and maybe where they're heading.
Sounds good. There's definitely plenty to talk about. Brentford's run, their European hopes.
Okay, contrasted with Ipswich, already down, but still fighting, especially with those home struggles, and key players stepping up.
Definitely. So where should we start? The narrative.
Let's do it. The Toonfet. Brentford 1, Ipswich 0. How did that one goal come about? What was the key moment?
Well, the report points straight to Kevin Schade's goal, 18 minutes in, a header.
From a corner, wasn't it?
Yeah, Brian Mbeumo whipped it in, and the report really emphasizes the quality of the delivery. Schade just needed that glancing touch.
So a well-worked set piece making the difference early on.
Pretty much. It set the tone, really.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing for Brentford after that, was it? They had a couple of penalty shouts waved away.
They did. One involving Ipswich's Sepp Vandenberg in the first half, apparently.
And then two for Brentford after the break, involving Nathan Collins and Axel Tuanzebe.
That's right. And crucially, VAR looked at those Brentford appeals.
And stuck with the ref's decision. No penalties given.
Exactly. Which sort of adds to the narrative, doesn't it? Suggests Brentford had to, properly earn this win. Nothing handed to them.
Definitely. And Ipswich, they didn't just roll over after going behind. The report mentions them pushing back.
Oh, yeah. Especially later in the game. Sounds like they threw quite a bit at Brentford. Chances for Cameron Burgess? George Hurst?
And Brentford's keeper, Mark Flecken, had to be sharp.
Seems so. Tipped one shot from Amari Hutchinson onto the post, apparently, and made a save from a Burgess volley near the end. Sound like a bit of a frantic finish.
So Ipswich definitely made a game of it.
Yeah, and the report even mentions they started, Liam Delap had an early header saved by Flecken, too.
So the story wasn't just Brentford controlling everything. Ipswich had their moments.
Definitely a contest.
Oh.
Which I guess leads us nicely into the report section, the facts and figures behind that story.
Right. And this is where it gets quite significant for Brentford. A fourth straight Premier League win. That's a club record for them in the PL.
It is. And you have to go all the way back to, 1939 for the last time they won that many top-flight games in a row? That was 5 back then.
Wow. That's some historical context. What does a run like that do for a team's mentality, do you think?
Oh, it's massive. Huge confidence boost. You start believing you can beat anyone. It builds serious momentum.
And it wasn't just the 4 wins. They were 6 unbeaten overall with this result.
Yeah, consistent performance. That's key at this level.
And Schade, the goal scorer.
Yeah.
He's on fire, isn't he? That was his 4th goal in just 3 matches.
Incredible run of form for him personally.
So this win pushed Brentford up the table.
Yep, up to 8th. 55 points, level with Brighton, but ahead on goal difference, and crucially 2 points clear of Bournemouth, though Bournemouth have a game in hand.
So that European spot they're chasing, it feels pretty real now.
It really does. But then you flip it and look at Ipswich.
Yeah, the report confirms their relegation, obviously, stuck in 18th.
Right.
But it's their home form that's just brutal.
It really is. This loss made it 8 Premier League home defeats in a row. Their worst ever run at home in any division.
8 in a row.
Ouch. And 13 home losses across the whole season. That equals their worst tally from back in 1994-95. It's a stark contrast to Brentford's current high.
It really highlights the struggle at Portman Road. You wonder why, don't you? That home disadvantage, almost.
Could be pressure. Maybe teams set up differently against them there. Hard to say for sure.
And looking at the individual stats again, Mbeumo's assist, that was significant too, right?
Yeah, his 25th goal involvement this season, goals plus assists. That's a new Premier League record for a Brentford player.
Overtaking Ivan Toney's record from last season. Impressive.
He's been vital for them. And speaking of vital, an interesting stat about Flecken, the keeper.
Go on.
He's faced the most shots on target in the entire league this season, a massive 192.
Right, so he's busy.
Very. But the stat also says he has the best save percentage relative to goals conceded among keepers facing a lot of shots. He made 4 saves in this game.
So even though the defense gives up chances, he often bails them out. That's quite telling.
It suggests he's performing really well under pressure.
And one last fact from the report, this win sealed the league double for Brentford over Ipswich this season.
Yep. And extends their unbeaten run against Ipswich to 5 games, winning the last 3. First time they've ever won 3 in a row against them.
So, historical significance on multiple levels for Brentford in this one. Okay, so we've got the narrative, the facts. Let's talk London, the analysis. What does it all mean?
Well, the main takeaway is clear. This run, this win, it's seriously fueling Brentford's European hopes. The report explicitly talks about them being in the hunt for a European place.
That momentum is crucial, isn't it? Especially heading into the final games.
Absolutely. And the analysis really zooms in on that front 3, Schade, Mbeumo, and Yoani Wissa.
Because all 3 have hit double figures for goals this season.
Exactly. That's some serious firepower. It makes them such a threat collectively.
And the report mentions Christian Norgard hinting that Mbeumo might attract bids in the summer.
It does. Suggests his performances aren't going unnoticed, and this kind of form could have bigger implications for the club and the player.
Makes sense. So, Brentford analysis, flying high, potent attack, Europe in sight. What about the Ipswich side of the analysis?
Well, their manager, Kieran McKenna, is quoted saying they competed well. So the analysis acknowledges the effort against a top-form team.
But ultimately, another home defeat.
Yeah, that's the unavoidable reality. It just hammers home those Portman Road struggles. Only 1 home win all season, and none at all in 2025.
Grim reading, even if they showed spirit.
Right. The analysis paints a picture of a team still fighting, not giving up despite relegation, but just unable to get results at home.
You mentioned the manager's quotes. What did Thomas Frank say for Brentford?
His comments really reflect that confidence. He talked about a strong team on form, having important momentum, eyeing their best ever league finish, being laser focused.
Sounds like a team that knows what it wants and believes it can get it.
Very much so. Just focused on the next 2 games, finish strong, then reset. Pragmatic, but confident.
And the report briefly puts it in the context of the wider race for Europe, mentioning Chelsea, Forest, Villa, Brighton, Bournemouth.
Yeah, placing Brentford firmly in that pack. This win keeps them right in the mix.
Okay, so that covers the analysis. What about those more subtle perspectives, the Goknin Kanhan, that sometimes sneak into reports?
Yeah, you can often pick up on the journalist's emphasis, like describing Schade's role as pivotal. That's more than just saying he scored. It's judging his importance.
Or calling Mbeumo a constant threat. It gives you a sense of his impact beyond just the assist stat.
Exactly. It's interpretive. And you get a feel for the team atmosphere, too.
Like Brentford being brimming with confidence.
Yeah, that phrasing paints a picture, doesn't it? It suggests more than just good results. It implies a really positive vibe in the squad. Belief. Swagger, almost.
Yet on the Ipswich side.
There is that little detail about the Ipswich fans getting on their feet when the team was pressing late on.
Yeah. Even though they're down, that shows a passion is still there.
It does. It captures that emotional side, the connection, even in tough times. It's not just about points. It's about that support.
And the mention of McKenna hoping for a winning farewell for the fans in their last home game.
That feels quite personal, doesn't it? It shows an understanding of the emotional context for Ipswich. Acknowledging the disappointment, but also that desire to give the fans one last positive moment at home.
It adds a bit of humanity to the stark facts of relegation.
Definitely. It reminds you these are clubs with history, fans, emotions, not just entries on a league table.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Pulling it all together from this deep dive into the match report, it feels like a really significant result for Brentford.
Absolutely. That record win streak, the key players firing, keeping those European dreams very much alive, it underlines their strong finish to the season.
While for Ipswich, it's another confirmation of those home woes, even if the spirit is still there, despite relegation being sealed.
Yeah, the contrast in trajectories is pretty stark based on this one match report. Brentford looking up, Ipswich looking towards the championship rebuild.
What stood out most for you, thinking about it all?
Probably just how much you can glean from one report when you look at it from those different angles. The story, the facts, the analysis, the feeling. It paints a much richer picture than just Brentford won 1-0.
True. It makes you think, doesn't it? For Brentford, with Europe potentially on the horizon and Mbeumo turning heads,
Yep.
could this win be looked back on as a really key moment for where the club goes next?
It could be. Momentum is everything in football.
And for Ipswich, as they face that rebuild, how much will fixing that terrible home form be central to their plans for bouncing back? That desire for a winning farewell hints at how much it matters to them.
Yeah, definitely something for them to address. Lots to think about.
Indeed. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.